Hey guys, welcome back to Make It Nerdy. I'm Chris, and I'm the creator of Silly Stuff. And I goofed, guys. I goofed big time. If you noticed, a little less hairier than normal. I did a little cosplay over the weekend, so I had to shave. I forgot to record the intro for the Captain Enoch, so I'm going to be a little bit different throughout this video. So if you want to see what I cosplay or who I cosplay, check out my shorts. I have it there, posted there. But you know me, I don't like to dabble too much. Like, why did I get this? Or what? No, listen, we're not going to dabble back and forth or why. It's cool. I liked it. I wanted to make it. And now here's a tutorial for you guys. So without further ado, let's jump into how we made the Captain Enoch helmet. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to go about breaking down the whole helmet. So if you're using the same file that I'm using the DO3 file. I'll have the link down below in the description. This file has multiple parts that you can take apart and put the magnets on. If this is the first time doing a helmet that has different parts or magnets, go ahead and put the magnets in anytime, you know, pretty much right after the print job or in your sanding phase, because you don't want to have to go in. And what I did was I forgot to put the magnets in and wound up having to, you know, put like a piece of paper or a piece of fabric on the other side when I'm trying to punch all the magnets in. So that kind of put me back a little bit as far as time-wise go, but not the end of the world. And I was able to get a lot of these magnets in. As you can see, these pop off over here. Over here in front of me here are other parts that I was able to print out. So I have behind me, you can see to my left, I have 2 resin printers, and I also have my FDM printers. 95% of this is done with FDM. The face here and then these parts here were done with my resin because they're a little more detailed. I just wanted to make sure that I don't have to deal with too much sanding or cleaning up with the FDM. This is nice. This dome here, everything else has nice big flat parts and not too much detail as far as separated from the other parts. So that's why I was able to do those in FDM. What we're gonna do is take apart all these parts. So you can see I can pull out the eyes. I'm gonna reach over here without looking really quick. And you can pull off the face. There's the face part. And this is red. We'll talk about why I did the face in red in a second. You have the back part. There's the back part here, and then the front part, and then the dome. These side ear parts on my kit, I go ahead and do a little bit of warping over here to fit this along with the side ones. They were off a little bit, but if you got a heat gun, I hope you do, get a heat gun and then just, you know, melt some of the plastic, heat it up, not melt it, more like warm up the plastic. That way you can get them all and then warp them into the right spot. And then for the red, so let's talk about the red. For the face, where we're gonna be doing gilding on the face or any part of the gold parts for the rest of the little cracks and the crevices and those big parts on the mask. Red is a good base for anything you're gonna do gold. If you're doing spray painting, if you're gonna do spray painting, instead of what we're gonna be doing for this project is gilding with gold leaf, always put a red primer on. That way that gold really pops when you put that. It's a good primer. So we're gonna jump ahead a little bit. So right now everything is sanded, painted. I have my prime on there because I'm not gonna jump in too much as far as prep work because you've seen a bunch of videos and I think I have a video. If I have it, I'll link it up there. If not, just YouTube how to prep a thing. Hopefully I'll get a video up on how I go through my step-by-step process. So these are all primed. If you're doing a white, anything you're doing white, I always like to prime it with a light gray. That way I have a nice coat covering any Bondo or any other, you know, scratches and everything else there. So always, if you're doing white, prime it with a light gray, and that way you have a nice base coat for that. As far as the painting goes, I'm gonna go ahead and do the dark gray first because those are smaller spots, and let that sit a day, let that cure, and then we're gonna go back and paint all the white, do all the white painting. Get this out of the way. And then the last thing is we're going to do the golding and the gilding because you have to get in little crevices and everything. And that way that glue and everything will be just for those areas. So that way you kind of have to plan out your taping and everything goes. So that being said, also, if you don't want to tape, that's okay. You want to paint by hand, paint by hand. But here in this channel, we do a little airbrushing or spray canting painting. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, all right, let's jump into that. So for Captain Enoch's face here, we're going to go ahead and spray this with a red undertone here because when we do the gilding or the gold, you want to put a red base so that it warms, so it brings out the gold on here when we do the gilding here. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray this with a red. So for the red here, I'm using red gloss pepper, or red pepper gloss. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, red paint, red gloss. Here we are, we got this all taped off now. So we're gonna be going from the matte glacier gray, which is basically my primer or my base coat. We're gonna be going to a darker step up to matte deep gray, which also I hope I have enough, because there's only a little bit left in here. I have to get all those parts, and hopefully I don't run out. So we're gonna go ahead and spray that and get to the next part. While I was able to do this part, I had this exposed. I was able to go ahead and carefully hit this with some the black matte. This is black matte is what I'm using, matte black, and get that top over there. That way I don't have to do another taping covering that. So that way when we do the white, we can cover all that, and we have 2 coats done for this portion of the mask. So there are 2 camps when removing tape to a painted part. One is to wait a day or 2 for this thing to cure, and then that way you can peel it off nice crisp lines. The other, which I'm doing right now, is peeling it all off right away. And so it's got a little bleed there. That's okay, because it's supposed to be all dirty and damaged and everything, so I'm not too worried about the bleed right now. On a different project, this I'd have been freaking out probably. So go ahead and peel all this off while it's still wet. You can see there I got a little overspray from the black. Not a big deal, because again, we're going to be doing some weathering and everything, so it's not the biggest deal. All right, that's the front part. We're going to let all this cure for a day or so, and then come back and then mask all that off, and then paint the rest of it with the white. Now for the white part of the helmet. For the rest of the helmet, we see this, the gray has been taped off over here. We're going to be using satin white paint. I use Krylon again with the rest of the colors I've been using. So I use Krylon. Feel free to use whatever color paint or type of paint you fancy yourself, but that's my choice. Quick thing about white paint. If you are, this is the first time using white paint, it's the first time painting anything or spray painting, white tends to run a lot because there's not much particles, not much pigment in there, so it can be a lot looser. So with the white, always do, especially with the white, is do nice light spraying and misting on there, so that way you avoid any runs on your props. You gotta love when the paint just peels right off, silky smooth, straight line, clean lines. Look at that. Forgot to talk about this part. I did the eyes in just a resin cast over here. Again, you can print this in FDM if you don't have a resin printer. And I went ahead and painted the eyes with the matte black. Matte black there. Then once this, give this a few seconds to set for a second, then I'll hit this with the a matte clear coat. And that'll be for the eyes. And then you have the 2 different options. You have like the little screen here where you can see through, or if you're just having it as a prop, you can see me in the shine there. Those are just, you know, a cover, so you won't be actually see out of them. All right, guys, now that we got the majority of the painting out of the way, now we're gonna get to the fun stuff. What you guys really came here for, see the gold on this helmet, see it pop. We're gonna also add in the cogs for the Empire symbols are up here, and we're gonna be doing all the weathering. So this is where the real fun part comes. This is where your creativity comes into place, as far as weathering and adding duration on here, adding all different other things, elements on here. So right here, we still got the other parts. Once we do the gilding on all the cracks and everything, then we'll go ahead and then we can start gluing all the different parts. These parts are the ear, so these are just gonna be added on later on. So all we have to do is add on these little pieces here, glue those into place, and then we're going to do the weathering on these pieces, and these will just attach to them to the sides once they're ready to go. Now that the rest of the mask is also painted, we can start adding on these other little pieces, like the chin piece, this little piece over here on the bottom of the helmet, and then we can add the weathering. Once we do all the weathering, it's all done at one time. All right, so let's just jump into the weathering process, and this is gonna be really cool, so stay tuned. So if you guys are enjoying this video and you really like it, make sure you guys give me a like down there. It really helps with the video and lets me know that you guys are enjoying the video. Also, be sure to give me a follow down there. That being said, let's just jump into this gilding. All right, guys, here's the cool stuff. So we got the metal leaf right here, gold. We're going with the gold leaf, our mask that we're going to be gilding. And then 2 parts here. We got the adhesive, and then we got the spray sealer. This also comes in a liquid brush form where you can just dip in. But I have this big space, so I wanted to try the spray. I think I could probably spray this into like a jar or something like that, and use a brush for the cracks when we get to the crack part. So right now we're going to go ahead and spray this. Make sure this is clear of any surfaces, anything else that you're not going to want to spray on, so we don't get all this glue, because it is an adhesive, and we don't want to glue everything we don't need to glue on. All right, here are the metal sheets. As you can see, there's a whole bunch in here. If you've ever worked with gold leaf before, this stuff becomes a mess very quickly. So you got to work very carefully with this, not to get gold leaf everywhere. Unless it's going to be like Goldfinger and be like, I want gold. No, but we want gold leaf only on the surfaces that we're working with. So be very careful once you're working with this, as it will get everywhere. Okay, if you can see here, I gave the mask short spurts of the spray right here. And what we're going to do is, this has to rest for a few minutes, about 10 minutes. So if you have a timer, set a timer. Go have a cup of coffee or do something else, because we gotta wait till this gets a little tacky before we can apply the gold leaf. So spray that, go do something else, watch one of my other videos, and come back. All right, so now about 10 minutes have elapsed, and I spent that 10 minutes with painting some of the red, hand painting the red on those bigger parts. So we're gonna add that to for the gold. I'm not too worried about the cracks because they're so small. It's not really gonna make a big difference, but now we're gonna be able to see the difference of the gold on a smooth resin print that's been spray painted versus a hand painted acrylic paint that's there. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and make sure everything's clean. We're gonna go ahead and get the gold leaf out. See, it's already starting to fall apart here. Very slowly. If you get a brush, I'm gonna get a brush here. It's already trying to pull away from the plastic here. Actually, the air from my air conditioner is kind of blowing this. I might want to turn off the air conditioner and start sweating for a little bit. Yeah, because this is going to fly everywhere. This is going to be cause a nightmare. So let's pause on this for a second while I start sweating. All right, we're back. I was able to just turn off turn the fan down a bit, so that way it's not blowing. So you see it's not blowing anymore. So we're going to go ahead and we want to try to get as much of this in one piece as possible. So that way we can avoid all these shards. So I'm going to bring this as close as possible, and again, make sure this is your surface should feel like tacky, not dry, but a little tacky. And then we're going to go ahead and take the gold leaf, and then there we go. Oh, look, that piece is going to go right there. Then we use a brush to softly press this all down. There's the eye. The brush is really helping to smooth it out as much as possible. It's not gonna be perfectly smooth because of the natural wrinkles from the foil. So if you wanted something that was gonna be smooth, gilding is not be the method to do the gold on here. But if you want kind of like a traditional look of how these masks would be made, this is the method we're going to use. You see this cracks here. It's okay with these cracks here because we're just going to get some of this gold leaf that's hanging over here. Pull that off and then just put that in there. So these just break off, they're like shards. So you gotta be really careful with this, and then any excess that's doesn't have glue, it's just gonna fall right off. Look at that. It'll fall right off. That's okay. That's what we want. We want all this to fall off that's not in there. Like Bob Ross would say, happy little accidents. That's okay. We're gonna put this over here, stick that in place, the brush, and just brush that into place. Just like that. That's nice. That looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up. And we're gonna go to the next part of doing the cracks, which is gonna be fun because then we're gonna have to, for my glue I'm gonna have to spray that into a canister and then try to get that to work. All right, guys, let's go on to the next part. So if you're using the spray adhesive as opposed to like the one of them comes in a bottle where you use your brush. If you go ahead and use like a towel and spray into a container, like I just sprayed into the cap here. You see right there, see the liquid there. So I went up spraying some of the spray into the canister with a towel, a paper towel. There it is over there. Sprayed it in there and got the liquid. And I was able to get the regular brush and then go in there and get all the lines into his little crevices. Was it crevasse? Is it crevasse or crevice? Anyway, let me know in the comments. Get that there. But look how good the gold leaf looks there and everything else. I'm going to go ahead and finish getting all the gold leaf into the cracks, and then we'll get started with the weathering. All right, guys, next step. All right, now we're on to the weathering stage. So right here, as you can see, it's a little dark here. We did all that beautiful painting only to beat it all up. Not really beat it up. What I got here is I got some oil paint. Never done this before with the oil paint. A little goes a very long way, so be careful as far as when you're applying this. So I put a little dab on my glove, and I'll just go ahead and dab different spots, and I'll go ahead and get a cloth, paper towel I have here, and I'll go ahead and buff it in, okay? You don't want a lot, it will stain. Once you get it on there, like, that ain't coming off now. See, that's part of the prop, not part of the helmet. That color's in there. As you can see, I got some other pieces here I did it a little bit earlier. Also, I got those. But this is first part of the weathering we're going to do is we're just going to add some color to it, get some grittiness to it, and then we're going to go ahead and get an airbrush. If you have one, great. If you don't, you can do dirty water with a brush and then dab certain spots and then get it darker and build up and then just start wiping it off as much as you can. So that way you build up that weathering. You see I got all the gold there, there and there. I got it all there. As far as the eyes goes, this model comes with 2 sets of eyes. So I actually just, on the inside of these, I just stuck them with some packing tape. Yeah, got some packing tape. Secured them in place because there's no real way to... The whole model comes with magnets for all different parts, except for the eyes. The eyes have no way of securing them. If you want to switch eyes, you have to kind of find a way to put them in place. So even with packing tape, if you wanted to do the see-through, if you wanted to secure it with packing tape, you know, the packing tape's clear, so that way you can still see through. So that's my solution for that. If you come up with like some kind of tinting, it's kind of hard to tint lenses like this in that curvature, unless you got some shrink tint to do something like that, but a normal tint that you normally get won't flex to that. But here we are with that. And then let's finish up with the rest of the weathering. I'll show you what the airbrush looks like when we get to that. For the next part, guys, you're going to need a Cricut. And if you don't have a Cricut, you can possibly do this. But if you do, this is going to make this process a ton easier. I did try to do this free-handed, and it turned out like a disaster. Luckily, my darling wife of mine got me a Cricut for my Father's Day gift. So got this just in time to have this done for a con I was going to. So here we are. You're going to open up your canvas in your Cricut, and then you're going to go ahead and find a logo that you like. There's a couple different styles. I think this is the closest one to the model. So you're going to add this to your canvas, and then you're going to make sure this is sized correctly. So we're going to change this to 1.5 inches across, right? Move this over here, center, and then we're going to add shape. We're going to drop this here. We're going to drop it over here, and then I like to just select all of them, and we're going to center it. And then what we're going to do is unselect it, select the image here, and we're going to bring that to the front. And now that we have that to the front, we're going to select both of these, and then we're going to slice this, kind of like a 3D printing, but on a Cricut. All right, so we're going to slice this, and you're going to get 3 different things here. Then you're going to drag one of the images off, and then you have the next image, and this is what we want. This stuff here, you can get rid of that, you can get rid of that, right? And then you're going to make a couple of copies of this. set these up. Let me see. Copy. Base. You know, set up as many as you want for your Cricut. You're gonna put this on a sheet of vinyl. Doesn't matter what color it is because you want this blank space here. All this blank space is what you want. We're gonna put this template onto the helmet, and then we're gonna spray paint all this, and then rip all this off. So let's go over to the
Pull off this piece first. We don't need this. This is the outside, so this is garbage. We want this piece to come off. There we go. That is what we want, right? We want that piece. Then we're gonna go ahead and put a piece of painter's tape over it. You don't need to cover the whole thing, because as long as it covers most of it so you can get it off this sticker here. Alright, there we go. Alright, so now we got these guys in place. We're going to go ahead and mask off the rest of it, spray paint it, and peel that off. I'm missing a clip where I was talking about applying the sticker, the decal here on the helmet. So I'll touch base on that real quick. Is when you're applying this, you may get a little bubble because it's not a flat surface. So if you get that bubble from the round circleness of it all, if that's a word, just clip out that bubble, overlap the circle. You're probably going to see that mainly for that big ring, the outer ring there. That's where you'll get that bubble. Just apply this here. Put nice even pressure. That way you don't have to deal with any bleeding later on. And then we're going to get to this. As you see, I just masked off all the stuff that I don't want to get painted, obviously. Then we're going to jump ahead to removing this decal here. When you're removing this, normally you would want to be careful not to scratch anything, but because we're going to be doing weathering and damaging, just go ahead and kind of pull this off as best as possible. Here, I let this dry for maybe 5-10 minutes. As mentioned earlier, I was kind of in a rush to get this done, so I didn't wait too long on it. And then I just pulled all this off, and then we can get to the final weathering part of this whole process and call this thing done. So let's jump over to the weathering. Now, as far as the weathering goes, you want to put everything back into place where they're supposed to be, because then you go be able to see. Whereas this is a separate part from this part, you can get this nice little gradation over here for like dirt building up. Anywhere where you see like crevices, like this wouldn't be here. If I pull this off, whoop, finger in the camera. Come on, Chris. You pull that off. Whoa, almost fell off the box. You can see where that is. But if you put that there, that's obviously where it's going to build up dirt and stuff like that, and grime. Anywhere your creases, you're going to want to put some little spray. And then for the top, I wind up scuffing up the cogs a little bit. Even though we did all that good work and nice and clean, we then scratch it up because it wouldn't be all clean because it's all beat up, right? Then again, also went ahead and sprayed a little more around here. Anywhere there's pretty much there's going to be a crease, just went ahead and did a little more spraying.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making this video. I'm sorry about the sound behind me because this thing is loud. So if you're hearing that, I apologize. Do me a favor, give me a like and subscribe down below if you guys think this was informative, you guys got some good information out of this, and leave a comment if you think there's something else you want to see me make or work on in the future. I'm always looking for new projects to work on and put other old projects in the back burner and then forget about those and then come back and do those later on down the road, maybe, hopefully. But anyway, that being said, I'm glad I was able to get this done in time for the convention that I was going to, get this out of the way, get this going. And as always, guys, keep making it nerdy.